Hi, this is Cathy Zukimoto with IdeateTV, and I'm here with...
Mac Quayle.
And he is composer for film, television, and...
Film and television, yes.
Okay.
Mostly television recently.
We were just talking to some video game composers. I wanted to make it clear.
Yes.
So, film and television. What are some of your recent projects?
Mr. Robot. Everything Ryan Murphy has done in the last 4 years. So American Horror Story, Feud, American Crime Story, which has been The People vs. O.J. Simpson, and the assassination of Gianni Versace, Scream Queens, and now I'm just starting his latest new show called Pose.
Your stuff must be very dark and dramatic and moody, yes?
Yes, because I'm very dark and dramatic and moody.
You put your heart into the music.
Can you tell?
Very dark, dramatic.
I'm trying to not smile, so I can be dark and dramatic.
Well, I'm sure it comes out in your music. Would you say that who inspired you when you compose? Who inspires you?
Who inspires me when I compose?
When you compose, what composers did you when you grew up listening to music, obviously? Who inspired you? I know some people really like Danny Elfman.
I mean, Danny's great. I'm trying to think. One of the first scores I can remember noticing was in Jaws, that amazing two-note theme. Which
Did you say tuna theme?
Two-note, tuna. That's it. I think that's a little story that's kind of how he was working on the.
Yes.
He was having tuna sandwich,
Yes.
and he's like 2 notes. Sorry, John.
Sorry, John. Yeah. We love you, John.
Yeah. That was pretty amazing. But wow, there's been so many fantastic composers. It's hard to really pinpoint just one.
Yeah, of course.
In recent years, there's a lot of modern composers which I've really enjoyed. I was so thrilled to see Trent Reznor get into composing and started off with a bang, winning the Oscar for The Social Network.
Speaking of dark and moody.
Yeah. That's
Can't imagine why you like him.
That's a fantastic score. I was a big fan of Nine Inch Nails. There's John Powell. I'm a huge fan of. Hans Zimmer, of course, has done a lot of amazing work. It's an exciting time to be a composer.
Yeah. I was asking the other guys, what happens when somebody falls in love with the temp track?
What happens? Well, it can be painful, because they love it. So to get them to pry it away from them can be challenging.
Prying them out from the jaws.
Jaws of.
Sorry, throwback.
Okay,
Sorry, I had to do it.
No, I'm with you.
So, are you a musician? Do you play an instrument?
Keyboards.
Keyboards.
Yeah, I started.
Piano?
Piano was my first instrument. Yes.
And do you still do this in all of the tracks that you're?
And the keyboard is still my main instrument, which, I work a lot with electronics, so I might be reproducing the sound of strings or bass or drums, and all of it's happening through the keyboard.
Now, I know that television is a little bit faster pace than, say, a feature. So how much time would you say you have? Do you feel more pressure on a TV schedule than you do for features?
Definitely. And my experience has been that what tends to happen is when you start the series, you start a season, and right at first, it's you have plenty of time, and maybe you'll have a few weeks to do the first episode, but then that starts to get compressed, and often as you get into the last half of the season, maybe it's a week or 6 days or 5 days sometimes, and just boom, boom, boom. So it gets pretty intense.
I can't imagine. It's create now.
It's really, yeah, it has to happen, and it's a blessing and a curse, because too much time I can just kind of procrastinate a lot or get lost in trying all these different ideas. When it's due tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., okay, this is it, and often the results are good.
Oh, well, you're like often.
Yeah.
Sometimes, maybe not.
No, I'm not going to say
No,
every single
not.
time,
Yeah.
but often, I'm like, wow, I did that in 2 hours. Okay, sounds great.
And it was probably more than 2 notes.
More than 2 notes.
What would you say to people who are starting off in this and want to get in and do what it is that you do?
Don't.
No,
I don't. We don't need any more competition. No. I would say.
What would you say to you, younger, getting into this? What would you say to encourage yourself into it?
I would say to learn your craft. You know, if you want to do music, like do music, make music, learn to play, learn to write, and just do that. I mean, that's the starting point, I think. And then my path into the career that I have now has been working for other composers. So get some craft, compose music, learn how to do it, and hopefully attract the attention of another composer that will hire you to help them. I mean, that's been my path.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. Very educational. Thank you so much.